Linguistics provides a lens into understanding human communication. It really layers up into a lot of different perspectives because communication happens at a lot of different layers. So you have the auditory layer, you have the nonverbal cues, you have the structure of the auditory layer, and all of those different lenses come together to form a bigger picture of what is happening in communication.
A lot of people, when they think about language, they're taught to think in their previous school experiences about what linguists call prescriptive language. So this idea that there's a right way and a wrong way to speak, and there's a right way and a wrong way to write, and you better follow those rules or you're doing something wrong. But what linguists do is we focus on descriptive language. How is it that people are actually speaking? And what does that say about their brains? What does that say about their language? What does that say about their society? And so linguists are working on all of these questions and all of these problems, and they're taking their ability to look at language as a system, whether that's located in the human body or, existing in a society, and apply it in all of these domains because, pretty much every aspect of life intersects with language in some way. And linguists and linguistics give us a sort of systematic means to address some of these pressing problems.
There's also things like computational linguistics and looking at how do computers interpret language and work with languages.
Linguistics can be helpful in the development of artificial intelligence and also just understanding people's cognitive capacities in general, especially with the cognitive capabilities aspect of things, that it allows us to better understand why we think the way that we do, and kind of that there is a universal aspect to language that kind of helps us understand why there's a universal aspect to humans.
I'm studying linguistics to better understand Ojibwe. Eventually, in my learning journey, I found how linguistics can be a really helpful tool in not just learning the language, but working towards what we call language reclamation. That's really important right now, considering the fact that most of the first language speakers of Ojibwe are elderly and they're not going to be with us forever. And so having a record of that, having the documentation of their language to try and learn from in the future when they're no longer with us is super helpful. What I want to do personally is to learn how to speak the language as best I can, as closest to a fluent first language speaker, but that's really hard to do. That's not something that I can really do on my own. I need some support, I need some tools, and the Institute here was always supportive of that from day one. So that was a major factor in me choosing the U and what makes the Institute of Linguistics different here. It's some really meaningful support of Indigenous language.
At an institution like the University of Minnesota, you're able to just walk across campus, introduce yourself, say, I have these skills. Is there an opportunity to collaborate on something and dabble in a lot of different things? In the course of my undergraduate studies, I was able to learn about technical writing and assisting with an aerospace project. I was able to help people in the computer science department with looking at translations between different Wikipedia language versions that are out there. I was able to develop speech recognition software for the College of Pharmacy and assist with Alzheimer's research.
One thing about linguistics is it's a fairly young discipline. As an undergraduate student, you can pretty quickly get to the cutting edge, tackle questions that nobody's ever tackled before, or that maybe they've never even thought to ask before. And so there's this, amazing amount of space for undergraduate students, graduate students to really dive into these of-the-moment debates and make an impact and sort of add to the knowledge of our field and to move things forward.
It is kind of a niche community where not a lot of people know a lot about it, so it is kind of fun to be able to talk with the people that do know things about it, and it's just kind of it creates a sense of community in that way because you have this kind of shared understanding with this group of people, so we can kind of all help each other to figure out everything together.